Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel RN Tutorial Zone, and now today's concept is computer networks and data communication. In this video session, I am going to explain well about computer networks. So this video is especially made for BSc Computer Science students and BTech CSE students. So let's not wait, let's get into the topic. So firstly, what's the definition of computer networks? We are all aware computer network is a collection of nodes that are connected by a communication link, whether that communication link can be wireless or wired. So you can find images down to that. The left hand side one is wired network, whereas right hand side one is wireless. So here is the perfect example for computer network. You could find hubs and switches and devices over there. So the main component that we need in computer network is data communication. We all know communication is the process of exchanging data between the devices through a communication link. I just told you before, communication link can be wired or wireless. Now, what is data flow? Data flow, the name itself we could find it is a flow of data. Data flow, it is again divided into three types, preferably simplex data flow, half duplex and full duplex. Let us know what is simplex data flow. Yeah, here it is. Simplex data flow structure is unidirectional, so that we can communicate in one direction. Example, let us take keyboard CPU communication. Keyboard can give its keys as input to the CPU, but CPU can't reply it back. Here is a visual example for simplex. Yeah, now what is half duplex? Half duplex is bidirectional, in which both the sender and receiver can communicate each other but not at the same time. Let us take walkie-talkie as example, in which sender can send his data, he can talk, whereas the receiver can receive but cannot reply back at the same time but can afterwards. Now the third one, full duplex, we can also call this as duplex. So we can take mobile phones, telephones as a full duplex example, so in which both the devices can talk back at the same time. Now what are the components involved in computer network? We can say nodes, media, services are the components of computer networks. So let's see what are nodes. I just told you before, nodes are nothing but devices. So nodes can be two types, end nodes and intermediate nodes. End nodes are nothing but sender and receivers. Intermediate nodes are nothing but communication links. So here are some examples. Intermediate nodes, so it can be routers, bridges, hubs, repeaters or cell towers. I will explain in detail about these things. Now what are end devices? I just told you before, end devices are nothing but sender and receivers. So computers, printers, all these things are end devices. Now media is nothing but which lays the path. So media is again divided into wired medium and wireless medium. Here are some examples for wired media: Ethernet, fiber optic cable, coaxial cable, USB cable. So here you can see the image, Ethernet cable. Ethernet cable is again divided into two types, especially Ethernet straight through cable and Ethernet crossover cable. I just tell you what is the difference. So I think you all know, aware of terms STP and UTP. STP is nothing but shielded type, whereas UTP is unshielded type. So you can see, if you give me a second. So if you remove these pins, then you could see the wires inside. If the layers are protected by a metal coil, then it is a Ethernet straight through cable, shielded cable. Whereas if it is not covered by metal coil, then it comes under crossover cable, UTP, which is unshielded. So there may be risk of cross talking, cross communication. So we preferably maintain Ethernet straight through cable, which is also known as STP. So here is the next one, fiber optic cable, in which fiber optic cable communication can be go through light waves, or we can say light signals. So in my own view, fiber optic is better than Ethernet, in which Ethernet can transmit the data through electromagnetic signals, whereas fiber optic can give through light signals. As we all know, light is the fastest thing in the world, so we prefer fiber optic for wired media. And thereafter we could find coaxial cable. Oh no, we all know what is coaxial cable. We can see coaxial cable in which DTH connections or star connections. so it could have a copper wire inside. And the last one, USB cable, we are all aware of this. Now what is wireless media? So wireless media can be again divided into few types, preferably infrared, radio waves, microwaves, satellite. Infrared is a short range media in which it can be up to 100 meters. So let us take remote control as a example. If you take your TV remote, you can't operate with a long range your TV. Now radio waves are nothing but Bluetooth and your Wi-Fi. It is somehow long ranger than infrared. Whereas microwaves are nothing but we are using mobile phones through microwaves only. Whereas satellite, GPS and all these things can be done by satellite media. So here is the example for infrared. Here is the example for radio wave communication. I am showing you visually. Now here is the example for microwave communication. You could see, pause the video and see. Now the third one, services. Services are nothing but services provided by computer network. So email, storage services, file sharing, online games, voice over, all these are services provided by computer networks. So now classification of computer networks. This is the major component that involves in computer networks. Classification of computer networks can be divided into three types, preferably local area network, metropolitan area network, wide area network. So I think you all people aware of these. Please let me explain in detail. So here it is, local area network. Local area network is nothing but a limited area, like we can take your college lab as a LAN, so in which computers are connected to a single Wi-Fi network in which we can use your computers over there. So we all know, I think you people having Wi-Fi icon in your phone. Some people will have WLAN, which is known as wireless local area network. So instead of Wi-Fi, some phones will have WLAN, nothing but Wi-Fi. So this LAN device again divided into two types, wide LAN or wireless LAN. Wide LAN is nothing but hubs and switches. Wireless LAN is nothing but your Wi-Fi. So now the second one. So metropolitan area network. Metropolitan area network is nothing but multiple LAN networks connected by a single MAN network. So I will show you visually, but for now the examples are switches and hubs are routers and bridges for this MAN. So here is a visual example. See, you could see multiple LAN networks, LAN 1, LAN 2, LAN 3, LAN 4 are connected by a single MAN. So using this, if you go to a medical shop like Apollo Pharmacy or Medplace, if you are questing for a single medicine which is not available at your city, you can get it by the same Medplace or Apollo Pharmacy using their MAN network from the other city. Now here is the example for wide area network. Wide area network is very large. It is most preferably used for networking. You can see the devices are end devices and intermediate device. I'll show you an example. So here is the example for WAN. See, you could see so this is a LAN from New Delhi and this is a LAN from Chennai, but both are connecting by a WAN, which is wide network. So using this WAN we can connect multiple LAN networks from different cities. So let's get into new topic, which is network topology. It's mainly useful for your academics. So what is topology? Topology is nothing but layout, arrangement. Okay, so network topology refers to be arrangement of nodes of a network, nothing but arranging your devices in a better path. So here are some examples. So network topology again divided into bus topology, ring topology, star topology, mesh topology, hybrid topology. So let's see in detail. So here are the examples. Firstly, bus topology. What is bus topology? Bus topology, we all know bus. So bus is nothing but a single communication link. So in which you could see there are 4 devices connected with a single bus, that is this wire. Okay. So using a single link we are connecting multiple devices. So this is known as bus topology. So let's see what are the advantages involved or disadvantages involved in bus topology. So we use only one wire as a link, so it's very cheap to use. Whereas if you are looking for a temporary network which is not dynamic, we can use this bus topology. And preferably, if failure of one device, like if this device failures, it doesn't affect other devices. That's the main advantage of bus topology. So one node failure doesn't affect other nodes. Whereas what are disadvantages? It's not fault tolerant, means not redundancy. And next, it uses less cable length, so we can't have a large network in using this bus topology, and there will be no security for this. Now the second one, ring topology. It's just like bus but in a closed loop. See, you can see it is unidirectional. One device, let me show you. This one device can communicate with this or this, but not with this. So a device can communicate with its neighbor nodes but not others. So it's like a time taking process, but this can be done using tokens. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of ring topology? So it is better to use ring topology better than bus topology, and there is no boss and slave rule in this system. So everyone is a boss and everyone is a slave for themselves. So every node has equal chances to perform. So when we get tokens, we can perform our task. So what are the disadvantages involved? So as it is unidirectional, we can't make it fast. So any single point of failure affect the whole system. So if one device fails, it affects the other systems as there is no other path. And it's just like bus I told, so there is no security for this. And if there is increase in load, there will be decrease in performance. Now the third one, star topology. You could see it is a centralized management in which this central intermediate node manages this all devices. So every device or node is connected to a central node in this star topology. So all the tasks must pass through that centralized node. So it's fully centralized managed. So now what are the advantages and disadvantages of star topology? So it's easy to understand and easy to design, very effective and scalable. But coming to disadvantages, it's very cost effective to have central monitor like switch and hub, and any single point of failure affect the whole system. So here is some, apart from your academics, there is an extended star topology which can be used using repeater. Okay, multiple star topologies can be connected by a network device which is known as repeater. I'll explain in detail about repeater in my next video. So now what is mesh topology? Mesh topology is better one than these. So mesh topology in which every node is connected with other node. See, you could see how complex it is, and it is fault tolerant and reliable. So there are multiple paths. If there is any risk of system crash, there is no risk of other system to be affected. Yeah, here are some examples, advantages and disadvantages for mesh topology. There is no redundancy as there is no fault tolerant. So, and it is reliable and effective. I just told you it is cost effective due to this complex network, and it can be used in large networking. But there is issues with broadcasting. I'll tell you what is broadcasting and unicasting and multicasting. Yeah, here's the fifth one, hybrid topology. We all aware of the term hybrid, which is a combination of multiple things. So here we can see star, ring and mesh topology together and bus topology together. So the combination of multiple topologies is known as hybrid topology. So we are done with topologies. Let's get into protocols. Protocols, we all know protocols are nothing but rules that governs the network device. So this involves mainly three things: preferably sender, receiver and media. So here you can see definition. It is a set of rules that governs the data communication. So how it can communicate with each other, like how it rules the other devices, like using this what to be communicated and how is communicated and when is to be communicated. These are the rules that protocols can have. So here are the protocols that define this network communication, preferably message encoding, message formatting and encapsulation, message timing, message size and message delivery options. You can find very interesting things in this protocols. So firstly, message encoding. Message encoding is nothing but path of the message, like how it to be flow, like this is the source, thereafter it should be converted into signals, thereafter it should get transmitted through transmission medium, then it should reach receiver, then it should again decode the encrypted data, and then it reach its message destination. Now here second one, message formatting and encapsulation is nothing but wrapping the data. Next, message size. So as we all know, as humans we communicate with each other with limited words, as if we have a lot of content to talk, but we preferably contrast it to communicate with for better communication. Like the same way in computer network communication also, this message size protocols compress the data to small modules for better communication. I mean long messages to small messages. Now the fourth one, message timing. Message timing is what are the protocols that are involved through message timing is it controls the flow of the data. Like if I am using a fastest network whereas the receiver using slow network, it controls the data, it maintains the data flow. Thereafter response timeout. If I am done with my sending work, the receiver should receive that work. Due to some unhealthy reasons, he might not get it. There should be no timeout. So this message timing look after that things. Thereafter message delivery options. So I just told you before, I'll tell you explain about unicasting and multicasting and broadcasting. So message delivery options look after this. Unicast is nothing but sending data from one device to other device. Multicasting nothing but sending data from one device to multiple device. Broadcasting is nothing but sending data from one device to all the devices, like Mart TV or Gemini TV or TV9 broadcast. They are also known as broadcasting communication networks. Why? Because they are telecasting their videos to all their customers. Not I mean there's no limitations. Whereas in multicast, it can be sent to multiple devices, but preferably few videos, a few devices. Whereas in unicast, it from one to one, like our WhatsApp messages. Now the interesting concept, addressing in network communications. I think you people are eager to know about IP address, MAC address and port address. I'll explain in detail about. So IP address, so we all know IP stands for Internet Protocol. So every node in the network would have IP address. So it can be identified with the IP address only. Generally we have two kinds of IP addresses, preferably IPv4 and IPv6. So let's talk about IPv4. We can also call this as logical address. Can change based on the location of the device. Can be assigned manually or dynamically. I mean we can change this temporarily. So represented in octadecimals. Okay. I mean in IP address you could find 3 dots, 3 decimals inside. So now how to see your IP address? Just go through this. Just go to command prompt, enter CMD, go to command prompt. There you could find enter IP config. Then you could find your IPv4 address, that is which is 192.168.1.131. This is the way to see IP address in your computer. If you can wish for, you can try. So is the second one, MAC address. MAC address refers to be media access control. So every node in a LAN can be identified using MAC address. See, I'm telling you, IP address is a location of device, whereas MAC address is a name of the device. So in your local area network there are multiple devices, they comes under single location, which can your IP address might be same, but MAC address is unique, which can be given by your manufacturer. It can't be changed for lifetime. So now we can also call this as physical address. I just told you before, it is unique and can't be changed, and it is represented in hexadecimal. So how to see MAC address? Just go through this, open your command prompt, enter ipconfig/all. Then you could find down to that physical address, which is 64.00.6a.02.2f.0e. This separators could be comma or slash or dot, maybe 4 types are there, and one more, it is alphanumerical, whereas IP address is completely numerical. Now what's the difference between IP and MAC address? Here you could find, it allows us to find device location, IP address, and it is 32 bits it occupies. So router needs IP address to forward the data, and it represents in octadecimal, whereas MAC address, it allows us to find particular node in a network, I just told you before, and it occupies 64 bits, and switch needs MAC address to forward data, and it is represented in hexadecimal. So let's see about port address. It's like, I'll take a real life example. There's a delivery boy who is from Amazon, who came to deliver your product. He got your city through IP address, like let's take your city as IP address. He came to your city, thereafter he found your name through MAC address. Let's take name MAC address equal. So he came to your apartment, but his work is to find his flat number, which can be compared with port address. There are many processes running in your computer, like Chrome or Mozilla Firefox or your WhatsApp, or many processes are going on in your computer. So he has to give the information particular to the destination of a process. So here you can see, in every device many processes will be running. Data that has been sent must reach the correct person through correct process. So every process in a node or device uniquely identified with port numbers or port addresses. Port address is nothing but process address. So here you can see, this person is using YouTube and he wants to access a video from YouTube. So the video that he sent, there are 4 processes going on. You could find different port numbers there, so that YouTube sent this video to perfect process. So how to see your port numbers in your device? This time you need not to go into command prompt and check. You can access directly. Check for resource monitor, or you can type RESMON in your computer. You could find resource monitor. There will be more processor running, you could see. Now the next concept, switching. So switching is also important concept in computer networking. Switching is nothing but searching for a better path, questing for a better path, for a better communication. So here you can see, I can read the definition. Switching is a technique. It helps in deciding best path for data transmission if there are multiple paths in larger network. So here are the different techniques that are used in switching. So preferably circuit switching, message switching, packet switching. So packet switching is again divided into datagram approach and virtual circuit approach. So firstly, let us know what is circuit switching. So here it is. Circuit switching is nothing but, it is a layered path between sender and receiver. The main point that we notice is, before data transmission, the path will be established first in circuit switching. So when you are transmitting the data, firstly in circuit switching, it gives preference to the path. So it decides the path, thereafter it transmits the data. So what are the 3 phases involved in circuit switching? Firstly, I just told you before, it lays the path. So connection establishment, thereafter data transfer, thereafter connection out, I mean disconnection. So this is example for message switching. Sorry for that, I didn't text something about message switching. So he is the example for message switching. Nothing but when you forward some message to receiver, these intermediary devices stores the data first, thereafter it forwards to the receiver, which is known as message switching. Thereafter the third one, packet switching. We also can observe internet is a kind of packet switching. Packets are nothing but data pieces. Okay, so every packet will have sender and sender and receiver IP address that are numbered sequentially, so it can take this order. So I just told you before, packet switching is again divided into two types, specifically datagram approach and virtual approach. So firstly, see datagram approach. So it is also known as connectionless communication, whereas virtual is connectioned communication. So every packet in this datagram approach is known as datagram. So datagram will have destination info like their IP address and MAC address. So it takes the data to the destination firstly, thereafter it searches for the path. So intermediate nodes find out the best route to forward the datagrams thereafter. So what is about virtual circuit approach? So I just told you before, datagram is connectionless, whereas virtual is connection oriented communication. In this, pre-planned route is fixed, whereas in datagram, first data transmission goes on, thereafter at the end it lays the path. In this, it is purely pre-planned, so it lays the path first, thereafter it transmits the data. So the main concept, layering in networking. So in this concept you are going to learn about OSI and TCP IP protocol suites. So let me tell what is layering. Layering is a process of decomposition of problem into more manageable components. Nothing but we decomposes the total problem into small modules, thereafter we provides better solution for that. So it is a manageable module is designed, so it is easy to troubleshoot the problem. So I just told you before, there are two layered architectures involved, preferably OSI, open system interconnection, whereas TCP IP suite, transmission control protocol, internet protocol. I'll explain in detail. So firstly, what is OSI layered architecture model? You can also call this reference model because it's not completely developed and it's not a kind of protocol. It was developed by ISO, we all know, International Standards Organization. So the purpose is to layering in computer networking. So the purpose of OSI model is facilitate communication between different systems without requiring changes to the logic of underlying hardware or software. So it doesn't touches its hardware or its software. It's just lays better path for better communication. So we can also say it is very flexible, robust and interoperable. Means you can it doesn't interrupt its operating system or applications. It does its work. So there are 7 layers involved in OSI, preferably application layer, presentation layer, session layer, transport layer, network layer, data link layer and physical layer. Application layer is the topmost layer which can be visible to us. Let us take WhatsApp as an example. We can see your friends DPs and their chat conversations over there. So which is at application layer. Inside that there is a presentation layer, is nothing but the data which we give gets encrypted, means it's get what we call encapsulated. Thereafter session layer is nothing but it divides the data into segments. Thereafter transport layer, which is the backbone of this communication. Transport layer transports the data using whether TCP or UDP. UDP is used for temporary connections, TCP is for better connection. Both are useful. Now the network layer, I just told you before, network layer looks after packets. It adds IP address to the data, so which is modularized. Thereafter data link layer makes this data as frames. Thereafter physical layer, it converts the data into bits. So let's see. Yeah, here it is. Let me explain in detail. So here is the sender's address and here is the receiver's application. So in this you could see application layer at the top. So in this let us give a message to a person. If you give a message hi to your friend like through WhatsApp, what will it do? you give high message at application level, thereafter in presentation level it encrypts the high message into some extension levels with alphanumeric values. Thereafter in session layer it deploy the data into small models. Thereafter in session layer it converts the thereafter in transport layer it transports the data from session layer to network layer looks after its IP address and it adds its IP address. Thereafter it carries it to data link layer it adds it MAC address. Thereafter it goes to physical address. Physical level looks after bits, it converts the data into bits like zeros and ones. Thereafter this bits level code is again transmitted to other app, your friend's app, transmitted to through media like wireless media, like we are using cellular data. It using cellular data and it goes to your friend's app, again it goes into physical level. Thereafter that bits goes into upwards this way. Firstly sender process goes this way, up bottom up process. Thereafter receivers manual is like bottom to up. So this is the way the path will be. I'll explain in detail about. Thereafter, what are the layers involved in OSI layer? We'll explain in detail about. So what is application layer? It enables the user to access the network sources. So at application level you can see visually and you can access the things over there in application. So what are the services provided by application layer? File transfer and access management, mail services and directory services, as we all know this. Next, presentation layer. It is concerned with syntax and semantics of information exchanged between the two systems. So nothing but the data was given by sender, it again translated into receiver's understandable language and it is get encrypted, which can't be understood by intermediary devices. Thereafter compression is nothing but you're using WhatsApp. If you're sending a 7 MB file like a 7 MB image, it gets compressed to 120 or 130 KB due to compression only. So now the session layer, it maintains the interaction between the communication devices like dialog control and synchronization. Like it decides how should it goes, like whether it be one way or two way. I just told you before, data flow, whether it can be simplex or full duplex. So this session layer determines that concept. Thereafter synchronization is nothing but whether when you are sending a large text message, it gives checkpoints when you are sending a message to your friend. So it gives checkpoints if there is a system crash. As it checkpointed, the first part goes to your friend, thereafter no worries. Now the fourth one, transport layer. I just told you before, it is responsible for delivery, transportation of the data. So it's nothing but it uses port address and segmentation and connection control and end-to-end flow control and error control. They might be errors due to this intermediary device. This can be corrected by transport layer. Now the network layer, it is responsible for delivery of data from original source to destination network using its logical addressing, which is also known as MAC address, and using routing. And now the data link layer, it is responsible for moving frames from one node to another node. I just told you before, framing goes in data link layer. So you can see services provided by data link layer: framing, physical addressing, flow control, error control, access control. This is also just like network layer. It is also looks after error control and access control. So packets get started in network layer and framing gets started in data link layer. That's what should you know. Now the physical layer and the last layer, it is responsible for transmitting both over a medium. So it transmits the data from encrypted language to bits like zeros and ones. So the intermediate device can't understand this language. So the services provided by physical layer is representation of bits, data rate, synchronization of bits, line configuration and transmission media. So is nothing but, so how the data is going on and converting encrypted data to bits, these all things can be done by physical layer. So now let's look after TCP and IP suite. I just told you before, TCP stands for transmission control protocol and IP stands for internet protocol. So here you can see there are several layers involved in OSI model, whereas 4 in TCP IP, preferably application, transport, internet, network interface. Application involves again 3 types of layers. I just show you in the next slide. Yeah, this is a way. When you compare this TCP IP on the right side with OSI on the left side, so application layer in TCP IP is equals to application presentation session layers in OSI, and transport to transport, whereas network to network, and this network interface again connected with this data link and physical link. So there are only 4 layers in TCP IP, which is easy to manageable. So here you can see a TCP IP suite. I explain in detail. At application level, I am in the top layer. So on the top layer, we could see name system. I know you all aware of name system, domain name system, and file sharing. Thereafter host config, we can see bootstrap and bootp, and network management, SNMP, RMNO. Thereafter file transfer, FTP stands for file transferring protocol. Thereafter email and news, you can see SMTP, POP, NNTP. I think you people are already aware of these protocols. And thereafter network protocols like HTTP, I think you all know. Thereafter we can see interactive protocols. And at transport layer, I just told you before, there are 2 protocols we have at transport level, which is user datagram protocol and transmission control protocol. UDP is used for temporary network, TCP is used for large networks. Both are useful. Whereas at internet level, we have internet protocols, especially IPv4, IPv6. Thereafter we can have IP routing protocols, and at networking level we have SLIP and PPP, point to point protocol. So these are the protocols involved in TCP IP suite. So what are the networking devices involved in computer networking? I just told you before, repeaters, hubs, switches, all these terms. Let's look into this in a detailed view. So repeaters, hubs, switches, bridges, routers, and multi-layer switch, router, modem, firewall. Let's look up to this. So repeater is a layer 1 level, which is also known as physical layer. So it's nothing but it regenerates the signal in a single local area network. So it works on a single local area network. I just told you before, extension of star topology can be done using repeater. Now hub is nothing but it's like a wide media. So wireless can be done through WLAN things, whereas hubs and switches involves in wide local area networks. So it can be used in a single local area network. It operates at layer 1 level, which is also known as physical layer. So it broadcasts the information to all the devices in a single LAN. So remember one thing, remember this word, broadcast. So both the switch and hubs are same, but it varies with one word, this broadcast. So let's look after switch. Switch is also a local area network device, and it operates at layer 2 level, which is also known as data link layer. It's just like hub, but the difference is switch uses unicasting. So it is an advantage for switches, whereas hubs uses broadcasting, which can be involve malicious data. So there will be no security in hubs. Thereafter bridges are nothing but it connects two different LAN net devices with same protocols. Like it operates at layer 2 level, which is also known as data link layer, but the major difference is it connects two different LAN networks with same protocols. So it is a combination of repeaters and MAC address net reader. Okay, so you could see visual example for bridge. So these are from one LAN, these are from LAN 2, both are connected by a single device bridge. Now let's look after router. We all know router, everyone knows this. So it operates at layer 3 level, which is also known as at network layer. So it is based on IP address, and it connects two or more local area networks with different protocols. So multi-layer switch, it's just like switch. We all know switch works at layer 2, I mean data link layer, but this multi-layer switch is nothing but it works at layer 3, which is also known as network layer. So it can be used as switch and also like a router. So router is nothing but B stands for bridge, router stands for router itself. So router is nothing but combination of bridge and routers. So it can be used as switch as well as bridge. So modem, MO stands for modulator, whereas DEM stands for demodulator. So modulator is nothing but it carries digital information in analog signals. I think you all know what are the terms like analog and digital. Analog, which is like our traditional clock, which is having needles, whereas digital is like which involves numerical values, I mean digitally. So this involves analog signals. It's a traditional way. Let us take a telephone as an example. And demodulator involves it retrieves transmission signals, so it can be used in both the analog traditional signals and digital traditional signals, I mean trend signals. So the example is telephone itself. Now we all aware, I think, who are using desktop or laptop or have a little knowledge about networking devices, they all know this firewall. Firewall is nothing but it provides much more security to the device. So it doesn't allow any malicious data or it provides more security to the device. So firewall also kind of a networking device. So let's look after principles of physical layer. Physical layer is nothing but it is responsible for transmission of data to electromagnetic signals across the transmission medium. So the data which was given by user, it again converted into electromagnetic signals to transmit the data to the receiver. So data that might entered by end user at application level will be changed to signals through the transmitter network I just told you before. So example, have you ever got the doubt whether you are entering your UPI pin? Have you ever got the doubt someone sees my UPI pin or he misuses my data? Have you ever got the doubt? Just pause the video and think over that. But they can't. Why? Because the main reason for this is this physical layer. So I'll explain in your detail. So this is the way. Here I took a WhatsApp call as an example. I can use UPI pin as also example. So if you give your UPI pin as your pin at application level, it again divided, I mean again converted into encrypted data at presentation layer. Thereafter it is again converted into segments, I mean small parts at a session layer. Thereafter a transport layer, it carries to network layer. Network layer uses packets, means it divides the data and adds IP address to that data. So it's again divided to data link layer, it converted into data layer. Thereafter it looks after that and it adds MAC address, and it's due to framing. So framing is nothing but it adds the MAC address and logical address to the given data. Thereafter at layer 1 level, means physical layer, it converts that frames into bits, which is also known as zeros ones. So these bits again converted to signals, whether it can be electromagnetic signals in case of wired media, or it can be microwaves in case of wireless media. So these signals again goes to this receiver application, goes to physical layer, again these signals convert to bits. Thereafter at data link layer it converts to frames, at network layer it converts to packets, at transport layer it converts to segments. Thereafter at session layer it converts to unique part, means segments got together and forms a unique part. Thereafter at presentation layer it decrypts the data, in which here presentation layer encrypts the data, here it decrypts the data, and at application layer here you can see your message, your friend can see your message over here. So that's the way process goes on at using these layers. So this is these layers are the main responsible for our data to be get secured. So I just told you before, packets are nothing but it is a collection of data that can be used as by computers which need to communicate with each other, usually as part of network. Some computers and networks do not use packets to communicate, but mostly currently do. Actually, we are using packets everywhere. Internet goes on packets everywhere. So including nearly all computers on the internet. So packets can be created at network layer. Now framing, I just told you before, frames can be created at level 2, preferably data link layer. So framing can be done using data link layer. So let's see what's the definition. Framing is a point-to-point connection between two computers or devices consist of a wire which data is transmitted as a stream of bits. So after framing, this will get converted to bits at physical layer. We know this. Now bits and signals. So bits are used at physical layer to store the data as zeros and ones. So signals are at the endpoint in networking. So the data was given by sender changes to electromagnetic signals to transfer data in case of wired media. So then these signals transferred from physical layer to application layer of receivers. Okay. So I hope you this session is very useful. Thank you for watching. Please do subscribe and like and share. Thank you.